Hey, everybody, and welcome to reading. Today in reading, we are going to be focusing on two different things. The first thing is the cause and effect, practice one. This is the first slideshow that you have on your list, so please click on that, open it up, and let's talk about cause and effect. So, in cause and effect, we're going to be talking about what is the cause versus what is the effect of events that happen. So, we're going to just go through some examples of this, and then you're going to be able to decide what you think the answers would be. So, let's get started. This one where it says number 13, it says cause and effect. The papers on the teacher's desk blew away. What could have caused this? So, what do you think would cause papers to blow away? Hopefully, you're thinking the wind, because when something blows away or it got blew away, the wind would be what blows something away. Now, where the wind came from, who knows? So, what caused it? The wind. Now, what would be the effect? The effect is that the papers are on the floor, or the papers blew, or the papers fell. So the effect would be, in this case, the papers blew away. So the papers got disorganized, the papers fell, the papers blew. So that's how cause and effect is listed. So number 14, I know it's really small, so hopefully you're able to see it, because if you click present, you can see it better because it's bigger. But the problem with it being in present mode is you can't type in present mode. So it just changes the page. So that's kind of not helpful at all. So let's go back into slide one. And Jared made a congratulations card for his mom. So, what could have caused this? What do you think would be a reason that he would have created a congratulations card for his mom? Maybe his mom, let's see, earned an award. Maybe his mom earned an award at work and he was giving her a congratulations card. And what would be the effect of this? So here's where you kind of go into like his mom won an award, so he writes a congratulations card. What's the effect of this? Now, this one can get a little bit weird because she won an award, so he made her card. You could also go into the idea of like he made her a card, so she felt happy. So it kind of goes into where are we going with this? That would be the question that you could ask is like, well, is that what we want? Yeah, I'd say that either one of those would be a good way. So, what would be the effect? What could be the effect of this? She was happy. She was happy to receive a card. Next, we have the cookies in the oven burned to black crisps. What could have caused this? Somebody forgot them. Yeah. I can't even see if I'm typing it correctly, honestly. Um, it's so small. Sorry that it's so small, guys. It's just the way it is. Um, there's not really a way to make it bigger either. So you're just going to be doing your best with it. Obviously, I understand that that's a problem. What could be the effect of this? So, what's going to happen now that we know that the cookies in the oven burned? No one will eat them. Maybe they get thrown out. So, there could be a few different things that happen there. The dog barked angrily at the window. What could have caused this? Well, someone was outside. So, what could be the effect of this? They leave a yard. So maybe somebody was in the yard, the dog saw it, the dog barked angrily, and they left. So there you go, cause and effect. Quinn stayed up until midnight to finish his book report the night before it was due. So there was a book report due. Quinn stayed up until midnight. So what could have caused this? Quinn didn't work when he should have. So that's what caused this. He was distracted, maybe. So you could say Quinn was distracted with TV. Then what would be the effect of this? He Maybe he didn't do it as good as he could have. Maybe he overslept the next morning. Maybe he was late to school. Maybe he was very sad. So there could be a few different effects of this. What is an effect? He didn't get enough sleep. Then we have Shane. Shane only had time to take his dog for a short walk in the morning. What could have caused this? He woke up late. Then what would be an effect of this? The dog didn't go to the bathroom. Maybe the short walk wasn't enough to get the dog to go to the bathroom, and now the poor dog's going to go to the bathroom in the house. Matthew became frustrated and tore his spelling test in half. What could have caused this? He didn't study. So he tore his math test in half. What's the effect of tearing his math test in half? He earned a 0 on his test. No! In the middle of the family movie night, all the power in the house went out. What could have caused this? There was a lightning storm. You might think of something different than I'm typing here. You might think about maybe, let's see, somebody wrecked into a telephone pole, a tree fell down on the telephone lines. Now, what would be the effect with this? Movie night is over. Maybe it turns into game night with some flashlights. So as you can see, I went through 8 different examples with you, and now you're going to do cause and effect for these two. So you have 2 slides to do. Number 3, look at the picture, identify at least one cause and effect relationship with the picture. So what's a cause that could be here? And what's an effect that could be here? So think of something that's a cause. They were, I'll give you my thought. They were focused on the sand. The effect, they got hit by the wave. So the cause, they were focused on the sand, so they got hit by a wave. This one, as I can see, it's a flat tire. So what caused the flat tire? What was the effect? They had to pull over. So maybe they ran over a nail. So they had to pull over with a flat tire. Oh. All right. So once you have that done, turn that in. And once you have that turned in, then you are going to go to the next slide, which we're going to open up the Galileo Word document. The Galileo Word document, gosh, my dog just opened my door because it was like cracked, and she freaked me out because it's like really late. If you're watching this video, you know maybe what I'm dealing with, but it's like late at night right now. It's like 10:30 at night, and I wanted to make sure I had this video made for you, so here I am. So next you're going to open up Galileo's Starry Night, and Galileo's Starry Night is the document that we read yesterday. So this is the document that has all of that information on it that we read in class. So we're going to take that and we're going to use it to answer some of the thoughts that are in this next slideshow. So you're going to be kind of going through this slideshow with me, and we're going to be reviewing some of the things that we read about Galileo's Starry Night. Now, it does take a few minutes for this to come up, so let's give it a second. Galileo's Starry Night. Use your copy of Galileo's Starry Night to complete the slides. So that's this copy right here. Now, if you have your blue book, you have this copy as well in your blue book. So you could utilize that. It's in the beginning of the book on the first few pages. So let's go in. Now we go to slide 2. It says sequencing. Drag the events from Galileo's starry messenger into the correct order. So you can see it starts with 1 and goes all the way to 8. You're going to be putting these boxes in order as which they happened in the book. So you kind of got to move them out of the way and look for the first thing that happened. So when I look at this, I'm going to kind of read them all. I would normally just read them to myself, whether it's out loud or in my head. And then I would start to think like, what happened first? What happened next? And you might have to go back into the story to find out what happens first and next. But that's sequencing. So sequencing is thinking about what happens in the beginning to what happens at the end. So I'm kind of going to go through and like Galileo was put on trial. That was kind of like towards the end, but in the middle. Galileo builds a telescope. That was kind of like in the beginning. Galileo uses his telescope to look at the sky. Well, that would happen after he builds the telescope, sometime after. Galileo publishes the Starry Messenger. Well, this would be before he was put on trial, because he was put on trial because of the book. Galileo discovers the moons of Jupiter. Well, that can't happen until after he uses the telescope. Galileo's friend shows him a spyglass. Well, that happens before he builds anything. That was the first thing they saw. So as you can see, I'm starting to put it in order already. Galileo is told to stop writing and is imprisoned in his house. So he's imprisoned in his house. This one, I'm not so sure which came first, the trial or the imprisonment. So I'm going to put these two next to each other. Galileo discovers the moon and realizes it's not smooth. Well, that was when he first started looking at the sky. So I feel like I've got a pretty good idea, except I don't know about these two. He's put on trial and told not to write anymore. So I'm going to go back into the story and I'm going to find what did they say about Galileo and his trial and getting imprisoned in his home. So, he built more telescopes, hoping to find the truth. Could you really trust a telescope? What does it all mean? Galileo wrote his in a book, and they were immediately sold out. People were very excited and troubled by his discoveries. Little moon circling the bumpy moon. Sightings like these could change how people thought about the universe. Some skeptics chose not to look through the telescope. Others refused to believe in what they saw. They insisted that Galileo put specks in there. That's weird. This version, see, we read a different one yesterday. Well, not a different one, but I think there was more information in the one we read yesterday. Okay, give me a second because I'm going to go to our Google Classroom. I need to open up the one that we read yesterday. I had found this version of it so that you guys could see it in a better way. And I don't think it's a better way because I don't think it gives us the right information. So I'm going back into the slideshow. And I'm going to go towards the end of the story because that's when he was told that he wasn't allowed to do it anymore. These early telescopes weren't perfect. And then, yeah, it goes here. They were not quite ready for this breakthrough. At this time, many people passionately believed the Earth should be at the center of the universe. Galileo was ordered to stop writing about his observation and was imprisoned in his house. Then he was put on trial. So there it is. There's the proof, guys. So we have now found that he was put on trial last. So we could put these in order. We have number 8 is put on trial. Number 7, he was put in prison inside his home, told he wasn't allowed to write anymore. He published The Messenger. He discovers the moons of Jupiter, and he draws them every night. He discovers the moon is not smooth. He uses his telescope to look in the sky. I'm going backwards. This is kind of weird. He builds the telescope so he can look in the sky. And his friend shows him the spyglass, which gives him the idea of the telescope. All right. So we can now move on to part 2. And part 2 is facts, definitions, and details. We looked at facts, definitions, and details when we were doing Shark Attack. And in Shark Attack, we talked about what facts were, what definitions were, and what details were. So facts being things that can be proven, definitions being the meaning of things, and details being things that you can find from the story. So we have topic, spyglass. What's a fact about the spyglass? So means tells us that is a definition because it's something that has means. It means something. So spyglass means far looker. Is that true? Spyglass is not far looker. Yo, you got to be careful. You see what just happened to me? I moved the whole thing, so I'm going to undo it. And now I want to just move this one to telescope. Telescope means far looker. Covered with craters. Covered with craters. Well, the moon is covered with craters, and that's a fact. 3 bright stars beside it. That's a fact for Jupiter. Makes far away things seem close. Oh, what's that? That's the telescope. Now, is that a fact about the telescope or a detail about the telescope? Let's hold on to it and see if we could find another one that gives us a better understanding. The dots weren't stars or planets. They were little moons circling Jupiter. That's the meaning of the bright stars beside it. It's not perfectly smooth. That is the moon. The moon is not perfectly smooth. Now, is the not perfectly smooth a fact or is it a definition? Well, one of the facts was that it was covered with craters. The definition of the moon is that it's not perfectly smooth. Next, he worked on grinding better lenses. That would be a detail for when he was making the telescope, I believe. A long tube with 2 glass lenses. That was the spyglass. That's a definition for the spyglass. Used for spotting enemies. Okay, that would be a detail for the spyglass. And then he had a telescope that was 3 times stronger than his first. That is a fact. He made a telescope, and that's a fact. Makes faraway things seem close. So I want to say that a fact about the spyglass is that it has a long tube with 2 glass lenses, but the definition of it is that it makes far away things seem closer. So there we go. We got it all set. And that is what we were focused on today was to determine different facts, definitions, and details, and to talk about sequencing in the story. So now that you've done both of those, you are actually done your ELA. Make sure that you have these both done, the cause and effect, and the module 1, Lesson 2, Part 2, with the sequencing, facts, details, and definitions, and then click Turn In on both of those and have them turned in. Palm it.